right now.
Okay, there we go.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Erin Spreen here. I reside in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. If you're catching this recording, I welcome all the guests on the call tonight. And we are very blessed to have a very special guest speaker presenter here tonight. I'm not going to give too much about who he is and his story, because he shares his story in his presentation. But I will tell you, I myself have been in the industry for 25 years. I've worked with a lot of top CEOs and top leadership of companies and platforms in the past. And I have been so blown away in this past month, a little over a month and a half of working with Paul. And you will get to understand his personality, who he is, and how humble of an individual he is. I'm not scared on who I talk to. Everybody's a human being. A lot of people get freaked out because it's, leaders and etc. But he has a huge knowledge. He's been with the company for over 6 years with Rain International and speaking about seed nutrition. He's gonna share some information about the products, his journey, where the business is currently and where it's going in the future. So I'm going to hand this call over to Paul. Take it away and get your pens and papers ready, everyone.
Thanks, Erin. Well, I'm excited for everyone to be here and to talk a little bit about Rain International and seed nutrition and how it's been such a blessing in my life and in the lives of so many of the people that I've shared it with. As Erin said, I'll share a little bit about my background. In my young life, I was in rock and roll. I was a rock singer. I was the lead singer of a rock group called Animotion in the 1980s. Another band called Device that I was in. I had hit records on my own as a solo artist, and I sang the theme song to the movie Scarface, if you saw that a million years ago with Al Pacino. Co-wrote music for the 1984 Olympics and the 1990 World Soccer Cup. And that was my life for many years. In the 90s, my wife and I started a traditional business so that we could be at home with our newborn child. And so we started an interior design firm. And like I say, sometimes I feel like Forrest Gump because I just seem to just kind of back into things that work, but I work hard at them. We wound up featured on the front cover of Architectural Digest with our work and on HGTV and in a lot of magazines and built a big business that way. But I'll tell you, I noticed something pretty quickly in my show business life. I could do something once and get paid for it over and over and over. When I did the movie Scarface, when I sang that theme song, I was 27, 26, something like that. We're now like closing in on 40 years later. And I'm still getting checks from that one day that I worked on that activity. And that's something that is not really readily available to the average person unless they have a lot of money that goes out there and works for them, or perhaps they write a book that becomes a hit or something like that, and then you have residual income, or you can buy a lot of apartments. But the average person, it's hard to make that happen. And in design, I figured out pretty quickly that I could only sell a couch once. There's no such thing as a timeshare couch where people keep paying for it. So I had to go find other people to sell couches to. But in 2005, I was introduced to a network marketing company that a friend of mine started. It was a kind of a unique concept. And I joined that business and wound up kind of just learning about network marketing as I went. But it intrigued me because it was the same concept. You could build a team of people that use and share a product and build teams, and it creates residual income. And I learned a lot about that activity, and I rose to the top of that company. I was the number 2 earner in that company for many years, and in all humility became a multi-million-dollar earner in that business, which kind of blew me away. And I'm telling you that not to say, ooh, look at me. I'm telling you that because I was just a guy who knew how to sing songs and hang drapes. Okay. All right. So if I could do that, anybody could do it. And all kinds of people from all walks of life have been successful in that industry. I live in Provo, Utah, with my wife, Suzanne. That's our son, Austin. He's now married and he's been married for 5 years and doesn't live here anymore. But um, one of the things that's very unique about Provo is that it's kind of the nerve center of network marketing on planet Earth. And that became kind of important because after I was with that company that I joined for 12 years, they started doing a few things that for me, I felt like they were just going off track. It was something that I just did not resonate with my personal mission or ethics. And so I knew that I had to find another business. And I started looking around. And, if you drive from Provo, Utah to Salt Lake City, that's a distance of 50 miles. But along the way, you'll pass over 340 network marketing companies. I had a lot to choose from. And a lot of people were trying to get me to join their businesses because I was quietly putting out, feelers. My dear friend, Derek Winkle, who was with me in my previous company, we both sort of started looking at the same time, and we've been very dear friends for many, many years. And he actually introduced me to Susie Kwok, who introduced us both to Rain International. And I felt like, wow, I had really found something quite unique. And it sort of had all of the prerequisites that I had in my mind. I wanted honest people that knew what they were doing, that had the right vision for the company. And I wanted a product that was real, with real science behind it, that people would buy at that price point, no matter if they were going to get some sort of a residual check because they have a business in that, within that space or not. Just customers wanting that product and going, yeah, I need that. I like that. I like what it does for me. I'm going to keep buying it. So I found that here at Rain. And in the ensuing, 6 years, I have built a pretty good business. And I've risen to the rank of Diamond Elite in Rain International. And so that's my story. And that's why I'm here talking to you about this. If I had to describe what is Rain? In just a few words, I would say it's a new and a very kind of revolutionary and unique way to give people the gift of health, the gift of financial wellness, if that's what they choose, and also a way to give back and leave the world a better place than when you found it. And I'll tell you about all those different aspects here while we're talking. Here's the facts about the world that we live in. The world that we live in, I'm starting to not recognize it. It's become a little bit of a, whoa. I think we've all been about one major headline away from a nervous breakdown for the past few years, But the facts about nutrition are really astounding. We live in a world where, ironically, because of the technology and the science that we have, we can produce more food than ever. There's really no need for people to go hungry. But that food that is being produced is not as rich in nutrients as it used to be because of genetically modified seeds and fillers and unsustainable practices that the farmers use, and chemicals, and so much of what we eat is processed. And so at the same time that we can produce all this food, nutrition is dying. And isn't that ironic? And the results we can see with our very eyes. Now, back in 1990, only 12% of the population was obese. We are now, in 2023, 42%. That's like, almost 4 times the rate as 33 years ago? That's crazy. That's unsustainable and really kind of well, I guess the word is frightening, that this is happening. At the same time, autoimmune diseases are exploding. They've increased by 320%. Well, diabetes has increased by 320%. And then other autoimmune diseases like fibromyalgia, lupus, allergies, peanut allergies, gluten allergies. I mean, it's just off the charts. In 1990, I didn't know anybody who had any of those. And now we all know multiple people who have those issues. Something's going on. And it's not just going on in North America. It's going on around the globe. And so what is that? Well, I would argue it's what goes in there, right? 80% of what we now eat, 80% plus, comes from genetically modified seeds. See, the reason I started off in 1990 is because that was before Monsanto introduced the first genetically modified seed. They introduced it, I think it was 1995. And now here we are, and about 80 to 90 something percent of what we eat, the crops, even in our processed foods, come from genetically modified seeds. We have nutrient depleted produce, highly processed foods, fillers, chemical preservatives. Do you know that a lot of the oil that's in processed foods is not even it's a petroleum oil. It comes from petroleum, and they process it so that it can go into your body and not kill you, but it's certainly not going to be like nutritious. And it's one of the reasons why if you drop a McDonald's French fry in your car and 30 years later you move this, that French fry is not going to be moldy. And you're putting that in your body. Okay. And so we have a lot of bad oils that we're taking in. And those oils gunk up our systems. They mess with the cell membranes so that it's very hard for good nutrients to get in and for waste to get out and for oxygen to get in. So no wonder we're screwed up. And if you add that to the fact that we're living in an environment that is in many ways polluted, we're exposed to a lot of chemicals on a daily basis, and modern life is stressful, you know, the pace of our lives. So you add all that together, and what you wind up with is a body that's just chronically inflamed and that's aging much, much more quickly than it should be. And chronic inflammation, I'm not talking about looking at your fingers and going, gee, my hand's swollen or my fingers are swollen today. I'm talking about inflammation all the way to the very cells of your body. And doctors have tied this sort of chronic, ongoing systemic inflammation to all kinds of diseases, hundreds of them as the trigger. And they're really realizing that inflammation is a killer. And Harvard just did a study that showed that 3 out of 5 deaths in our world today can be traced back to inflammation. So what does that tell you? That tells you that if you can reduce inflammation, well, you got a big leg up for improving your health. Seeds wind up being the solution. Now that seems kind of crazy. Like how did science and the rest of the world miss something that was so obvious? Do you know that seeds are 20 to 30 times more nutrient dense than the plant or the fruit or the vegetable that grows from the seed? 20 to 30 times. And it just seems so logical when you think about it. This is it's the source of all nutrition. It's the birth of all nutrition. It comes from seeds. We came from seeds. Everything starts with a seed. Seeds contain all the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and essential fatty acids. I'm talking about the good fats that we need on a daily basis. The problem is you can't just sit down and eat a bowl full of seeds. If you did, you'd have a tummy ache. So what if somebody could find a way to pull all of that nutrition out of those seeds in a way that your body could readily use? Well, that's exactly what RAIN has done. That's the good news. They have partnered with the University of Maryland to create a lot of these seed formulations that come in liquid form and capsule form. But actually, the University of Maryland was where the initial formulation came from. Now, scientists and doctors there at the University of Maryland were looking for a way to help little pediatric cancer patients who had been through chemo and radiation, and their bodies were really inflamed because of that. And they had a lot of oxidative stress, meaning free radicals were attacking those cells in their body because of that damage that is caused by chemo and radiation. So they were looking for a way to give those kids dense nutrition without having to have them eat a lot, because the kids had zero appetite. Their little bodies were just thrashed. And because seeds are so packed with nutrition, they created a formulation of 3 very powerful seeds: black cumin seed, black raspberry seed, and grape chardonnay seed. Now, they all have individual properties. Black cumin seed is just unbelievable little seed. If you haven't ever kind of done a little Google search on the health benefits of black cumin, after you get off this presentation, go Google black cumin seed health benefits. Amazing. It's 281 times more anti-inflammatory than aspirin. It's antiviral, it's antibacterial, antifungal, anti-parasitic, anti-pain. I mean, it's very high in antioxidants. There's a lot of antis going on there, a lot of health benefits, and very, very high in essential fatty acids. But do yourself a favor, do the Google search. The one thing about black cumin seed is it doesn't taste very good. Okay, but that's been overcome by this little formulation. Black raspberry seed, also very high in antioxidants, as well as grape Chardonnay. They all have their individual properties, but they combined these three seeds and they liquefied them in a cold pressing process. And they combined them along with something called D-Ribose, which is a natural sugar that occurs in your body in every single cell, and it is essential in the chemical reaction that turns food into energy. So, you know, it was another way of getting that nutrition activated in these kids' bodies. Well, that product is now called Sol, and we have the patent on it, and it's exclusively ours. Rain International was so confident in this little formulation because of all the results that they saw that they actually sent it to an independent laboratory to be tested to see how does this formulation react with live human cells. And here's what they found. They had a 33% reduction in cellular inflammation immediately, and they found that the effect was cumulative. The more that you took this, the more that the inflammation was reduced. There was a 67% reduction in the rate at which the cells aged. There was an equivalent of 7 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables in that one little packet of Sol, and the equivalent of 3 to 4 servings of essential fatty acids. So, you know, like things that you would get from eating salmon or avocados, healthy fats, you get 3 to 4 servings of that from one little pouch of Sol. They also found in this laboratory, and this laboratory had been around for like 50 years and was one of the most prestigious laboratories. The FDA used them. You know, it was an incredible laboratory, but they found that Sol was higher in antioxidants than the average of all other products that they had ever tested at that laboratory. So they said it was a very powerful, very effective product. I wanted to share something with you that I saw with my very own eyes. I was over in Budapest, Hungary, and I was speaking at an event about rain. And on the same program was this doctor. His name is Dr. Norbert Kettskes, and he is the official team physician for the Hungarian Olympic team. And he has that whole Olympic team using Sol and Rain's products to train with, to compete with. And so he was speaking there and on a lot of the medical aspects and the health benefits. He asked for a volunteer from the audience who had not ever used Sol. And this girl volunteered to give a little blood test. And so he had the ability to take her blood and put it on a slide and project her red blood cells onto a big screen there in the auditorium. These were her red blood cells. And he pointed out, he says, now, do you see how it doesn't look like individual cells? They're sort of overlapping. They're moving very sluggishly. What this indicates is that they're not well oxygenated. It indicates that there's a lot of inflammation, and that probably the cell membranes have been blocked a little bit by bad oils, and it's hard for the oxygen to get in, it's hard for nutrients to get in, and for waste to get out. So he said, now I'm going to give you a packet of Sol, handed the Sol to this young woman. He said, you take that right now here on the stage. So she did. And he says, now I want you to sit down for a half an hour while that Sol goes to work in your system. And I'm going to bring you back up and we'll do another little blood test and we'll see where we're at. Well, 30 minutes later, she came up, did another quick little pinprick blood test. These were her red blood cells before taking Sol. This was after. And all about 700-800 people in that room just went, oh, because it's so visual. And he pointed out, he says, now do you see how these red blood cells are acting independently? They're glowing, they're full of oxygen. The nutrients are now able to get in and the waste is able to get out. That's why they look this way instead of the other way. So that was very eye-opening for me, beyond just how I felt when I took salt. I could see it with my very eyes. Mind-blowing. Let's talk about some of the other products that Rain has produced in conjunction with the University of Maryland over the years. So there is also Sol Red, which is just another variation on Sol. The difference being that instead of using black raspberry seeds, they use red raspberry seeds, and they use a little more concentration of black cumin seed oil in this product. And when this product was tested, it inhibited aging by 80%. It increased inflammation at the cellular level by 80%. It boosts metabolism, and so it helps in weight loss programs. It's keto friendly, helps to boost immunity, also very good for a healthy heart. Core is another product that has black cumin seed in it, but then it has tons of greens. And that one little packet of Core is the equivalent of drinking 7 8-ounce glasses of green smoothie. I mean, let me tell you, I'll take one little packet of Core, because if I were to drink 7 8-ounce glasses of green smoothie, I would probably have to stay home. Okay. But you don't have to do that with Core. So what's in Core is black cumin seed, and then aloe vera, spirulina, chlorophyllin, chlorella, kale, milk thistle, dandelion root, wheatgrass. And what they found when they tested Core at that independent laboratory is that it increased a cellular factor associated with immunity by about 67%. So almost 70% increase in this immunity factor within the cells. That becomes kind of important in the world today when we're fighting certain, challenges. Also, they found that Core acts like a cleanse kind of for the organs of the body. Anything in your body that acts like a filter. So your lungs, your liver, your gallbladder, your kidneys, and the biggest filter of all, the biggest organ of your body is your skin. So it makes your skin beautiful, and it kind of makes all those organs that I mentioned beautiful also. When you take that, regularly on a daily basis, incredible benefits. And I'll tell you, when I was in Budapest in 2020, January of 2020, now let's see, what was happening then? I got pretty sick, and I started, instead of taking 1 Core a day, I started taking 1 Core an hour, along with our probiotic. And I'll tell you, in 2 days, I felt fine. It was pretty incredible. All right. Form is a formulation of protein that, by the way, everything we do is vegan, vegetarian friendly. We don't use any animal products, nothing kind of unnatural, no artificial fillers or preservatives or anything like that. Form is a plant-based protein that is absolutely delicious. It's pea protein and then seed proteins, a lot of different proteins. It also has the black cumin seed in it, chia seed, a lot of others, pumpkin seed, cranberry seed. It has 20 grams of protein per serving, and I think about 125, 150 calories, depending upon the flavor that you choose. They come in little individual packets, so they're really convenient. You can pop them in your bag, or, wherever you're going to the gym, going to work, whatever, and just have that with you there. You can throw it in, in a blender, or just shake it up in a water bottle if that's what you'd like. But it's very high in something called branched chain amino acids. That is the only amino acid chain that goes to work directly in your muscles. It metabolizes in your muscles instead of your liver, so that it builds lean muscle mass very quickly. And this is what they give to people that are incapacitated, people that are, immobilized, perhaps in a wheelchair, or have other challenges. Doctors give them very high levels of branched chain amino acids so that they can build lean muscle. Of course, if you're not in that category, you can build lean muscle even faster. So terrific product, and very delicious. Pure is our probiotic. That's a seed-based probiotic. It has, billions and billions and billions of probiotic microorganisms. It comes in those little tiny individual packs, like a straw pack that you can just pop in a water bottle or your glass of water at a restaurant. It does not need to be refrigerated. You're just going to activate it as soon as you put it in the water and then drink it. But it's very important to have that good gut health, that you replace the good bacteria. Probiotic means for life. And that good bacteria in our gut is assaulted on a daily basis by stress, by antibiotics. What does that mean? Against life. Okay. They don't just kill the bad bacteria, they kill everything. So you got to put the good bacteria back. And then just a lot of the different, food products and things kill good bacteria. Replace it on a daily basis. That is where your health starts. And they've actually found that good gut health is also associated with good brain health. Isn't that interesting? So people have gotten on, a good probiotic, and then it's helped their mood. Interestingly, bend is for your joints and anything on your body that bends, joints and tendons. Now, if you maybe have joint issues, you probably know about glucosamine sulfate. That's a powerful ingredient that is good for your joints. Most glucosamine comes from shells, the shells of shellfish. This is a glucosamine sulfate that's from seeds and plants. It's very unique and proprietary to us. So we have the black cumin seed in there, glucosamine sulfate, curcumin, and turmeric, which are great for your joints. And it's really, really high in those things. I think it's 100 milligrams as opposed to 30 milligrams that you're going to go buy at a health food store. This has been terrific for my knees, I'll tell you that. I have a couple of knees that lock up a little bit if I sit for too long. It doesn't happen when I use Bend. Terrific product. Bright is for your brain and for energy and focus. It has lion's mane in it and other very important like B vitamins, things that are great for focus and energy. It is not going to make you jittery. It's very natural, but you'll feel kind of like lifted and then focused. It's kind of like the morning fog goes away. Terrific product. I take it every day. Renew is a daily detox for your digestive system. It pulls out heavy metals. It has bentonite clay in it that comes from volcanoes, activated charcoal, other ingredients. It has, glutathione in it. Fantastic product. If maybe you're having, if you're having a few regularity issues, I highly recommend Renew. Vive 3 is our vitamin D. Now, this is a very, very unique vitamin D. It will raise your vitamin D levels lickety split. And this is very important in our modern world because vitamin D is really important for immunity. And there were lots of studies that showed that people with high levels of vitamin D did not suffer as much in the last little few years where we had these challenges. The problem with most vitamin D is that when you take a pill form vitamin D, a lot of it is killed in your digestive tract. This Vive 3 or Vive vitamin D is micronized. So you spray it in your mouth. I like to spray it under my tongue, because it absorbs very quickly. And that vitamin D absorbs right in your mouth before it ever gets to your stomach. My vitamin D levels increased by 75% within a couple of weeks taking Vive. So incredible product. Oh, and that comes from, once again, seeds, plants. It comes from reindeer lichen. That's where that vitamin D concentrate comes from. All right, let's see. So that's kind of the basic line of products. There are more coming, I'm sure. We continue to work with the University of Maryland to develop products. But here's the thing. Several of you have been using the products now, and you realize the difference that they're making in your life. If you haven't and you start using them, you're going to see that difference. And it just becomes human nature that when you experience something positive, you want to tell the people you love about it. I mean, it's just like I said, it's human nature. But what if you could get paid for human nature? Well, you can in RAIN. There's a program where, whether you'd like to just earn free product by sharing and recommending this to people, or perhaps you'd like a little side hustle to earn a little extra money, or if you would like to create absolute financial freedom, there's a way for you to do that, and it is just not complicated. If you become a RAIN partner, you'll have a personal link that you can share. Just text somebody your link, share a video, and they can learn about RAIN. And when they tap that link, well, that is attached to you. And you can send it to people in over 45 countries, and they can get information about the product or the business. They can shop, they can subscribe for monthly products, they can enroll as a RAIN partner right there, just using that link. The company ships the product to them, and you don't do any of that, and you get the credit and you get the cash for doing that. If you just share with a few people who share with a few people who then continue to share with a few, you can build an incredible business that creates residual income. Honestly, that's what I have done. We're in 45 global markets. My business, just because of how it grew, happens to be mostly overseas. It's in Europe, it's in Scandinavia, it's in Asia. But right now, we're really looking to grow North America. And there's a huge, huge opportunity to do that. And certainly, anybody that you talk to in any of those 45 countries can participate. But let me just share something with you really, really quickly to give you an idea of how enormous this opportunity is. If you look at just sort of the arc of nutritional products within our space of network marketing in the last 20 years or so, $28 billion of superfruit juices have been sold on a yearly basis. These are our statistics from 2016. I'm sure that it's bigger than this now. $446 billion a year in capsules, supplements, that come in pill form. $49 billion a year in herbs are sold. People are interested in health. There's a lot of aging baby boomers, Gen Xers, who are like going, maybe it's important for me to concentrate on this now, because if I don't have my health, I don't have anything. $17 billion a year in essential oils are sold. But my question is, what were all of those things before they were those things? They were seeds. They were seeds. That's the source of all of those things. So we are a category that really sort of trumps all other categories. This is a category creator company. And with companies like that, it provides an opportunity for people who want to tell people about that, and you can benefit greatly. Because if you can help a large group of people to solve a very common issue, and we've kind of established what those common issues are, and it's a very large group of people, well, that's a huge opportunity for you. That opens a door to an enormous opportunity. So RAIN is really just here to bless people, to help people become happier, healthier. We have a foundation also, a charitable foundation. So a portion of everything that you purchase goes towards building orphanages in Eastern Europe, towards bringing potable drinking water to regions of the world in Mexico and Africa and other areas where they didn't have that. We've built schools in Mexico, and all these fantastic initiatives were made possible by people who were just using our products. So, that's what RAIN is here to do. I hope that has kind of opened your eyes about this opportunity and this, what it means to you, whether that's something that's just you'd like to try the products, or whether you see an opportunity for yourself at whatever level. So, Erin, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that amazing presentation of what RAIN International is fully the whole vision, what the product line is. I mean, I have my wonderful little products here too, always beside me. It's amazing what has come into our lives, but we have some incredible individuals here that want to share their stories on their product testimonial, on their business testimonial. And first of all, we're going to bring on this amazing dynamic lady that I've got to know this last couple of years, and really got to know this last 6 months since I moved from our family from our previous location, which was an hour and a half outside of Edmonton, into Edmonton. And we've been, obviously, she lives in Edmonton, Alberta. Her name is Jeannie. She's had incredible results in a very short period of time. I actually got to experience seeing what her results are. Well, we took a quick trip to Calgary here a couple of weeks ago. And Jeannie, I'd love for you to share your product testimonial to everybody.
No problem. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So outstanding presentation, Paul. You hit the nail on the head. I've been taking rain. When did about
March the 3rd is when you joined.
Okay, yeah. So March the 3rd. My product about 2 weeks later. There was a bit of a delay. Started taking it immediately. So I have suffered for many years with extreme tennis elbow. I have seen chiropractors, acupuncturists, massage therapy, doctors. I've had ultrasounds done. The inflammation, it was just horrendous. Sleeping at night, I couldn't bend my arm, or if my arm was bent, I couldn't straighten it. It was excruciating. My career was keeping so many years of typing, writing, and since I retired in 2018, I guess the rest has just done whatever. Fast forward to start taking rain, and I'm not 100% certain which of the products have done it because I take them all within a week and a half of dosing myself every couple of hours. I am symptom free. My massage therapist, who I saw regularly once every 2 weeks, my chiropractor that I was going to 2-3 times a week, they cannot believe how the tendons have literally healed themselves. There are no words. I have suffered to the point where I have just wanted to have my arm cut off. The pain has been excruciating. And that's, I can't say enough good about it. Short and sweet, it's miraculous. And the weight loss. So it's slowly starting to come, but I think that's, it didn't go on overnight. It's gonna not come off overnight, but that's the benefit. But yeah, pain-free, full mobility, full range of motion, no more aches, no more pains.
And I just want to add a little bit more to Jeannie's testimonial. When we took our trip down to Calgary, typically she's an early morning riser. She gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning. She's one of those individuals. And she got up really early. We were out the door very early to head to Calgary, and we were going to a conference, and we were going into a pre-meeting with the event planners, the presenters, the owners of the company. And by still 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, she wasn't even tired. And typically before that, she used to have 1 to 2 naps a day. And she was only on the product for about a week at that period of time.
Yeah, the energy level has increased.
Yeah. So just had to share.
That's wonderful. Wow.
Yeah. I can believe it. 1:30 in the morning and we're still up BSing. And even when it finally came time to lay down, I was still okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does increase your energy for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jeannie, for sharing.
I'll tell you, I love to garden, and, I still think that I'm 26. I'm not.
But what happens when we
I'll get out there and work like I think I am. And then, lie in bed and the next morning, roll over and say to my wife, do you think it's possible that I could have muscular dystrophy? Because I feel like I've been hit by a truck. And the thing is when I started taking Soul and Core, I started noticing, oh my gosh, that doesn't happen.
No.
I just don't have that same level of aches and pains. So that's my story.
Yeah, no, it definitely does work. I have been, anybody that has known me, my family, my friends, they're like, what has happened? So it is definitely something to look at. If you're on the fence, take a serious look at it.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And we don't claim to treat, prevent, cure, diagnose anything. We can't, because the FDA would come get us. But I'll tell you, just go research any of these ingredients and you will see, the peer-reviewed double-blind studies of what's possible. So check it out for yourself.
Awesome. Well, our next person that's going to come on, and he's going to share a little bit of his product testimonial. Again, most of us have just been on the product for about a month now. And for us newbies that have joined Rain International, the Seed Nutrition Vision and Mission, he hails out of just outside of Chicago. And his name is Phil S. And I know at the very beginning, when he was on it for maybe 3 or 4 days, he was already noticing amazing results. So I'm very excited to see and hear his updated testimonial, because it's been a few more weeks now. And I know he's up all night doing work. So things are definitely working. So Phil, take it away.
Thanks, Erin. Yeah, I came in around the same time, the beginning of March. A little bit about my backstory is, I've been an athlete. I was a wrestler in high school, and played baseball and was a catcher. So I had joint pains for kind of a relatively young man. When I was introduced to this back at the beginning of March by a friend, watching some videos, kind of turned into a no-brainer. Like Erin said, I started taking the product, relatively shortly after signing up. I got it right away, probably about maybe a week in. And instantly my body felt better. My joints didn't crack when I moved or got up from reading bedtime stories to my young kids. I go to a chiropractor. I've been doing stuff like that, but since taking this medicine, it's almost better than the chiropractor. The inflammation is way down. I had that lower back pain. That seems to have gone away. And that pretty much went away within 3 days of taking 3 products. I take more. I take the Soul, the Core, and the Bend. Morning, midday, and then evening. And then I'm not very good. Obviously, I probably should take more of the Brights. But I have been taking that. And I do take the probiotic periodically as well. But mostly I take the Soul, Core, and the Bend, and those 3 together are pretty phenomenal. I've also noticed I used to have to wear glasses, which I'm stubborn and I never got my eyes checked anymore after my last prescription. But within a month, it does seem like my eyesight has gotten better. My eyesight wasn't bad. I was only negative 0.5. And I've actually been slowly getting better as I've aged, which I thought was strange, because I always wore my contacts to sleep. I put them in and I'd wear them for a month or 2 months until they started irritating my eyes. I would throw them out. My eyes started at a -1. And then last time I got them checked about 3 years ago, it was negative 0.5. But since we're taking the Rain products, I don't get headaches anymore that I used to get. And I tend to see stuff that I couldn't see before.
Wow, that's great.
That is amazing. That is awesome. And it's great to hear, again, like your past of being athlete, and just hearing, knowing, and understanding the power of what we have with the seed nutrition is just amazing. And I can't wait for more and more people to jump on board and take a look at what we have and just try it. I mean, you can't make an opinion if you don't try, right? So like you said, Phil, you just had to try it, and it was a no-brainer. So absolutely. Well, with myself, for, you've heard me speak a little bit tonight, but I want to share a little bit my journey of as being an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 25 years plus, building teams for 15 years, having organization, a global organization under 62 countries. So I've been, working around the clock, around the world, but all through Zoom, if you can imagine. But I will tell you, I had multiple projects on the go, but when I heard Jeremy, our good friend Jeremy's story, like Phil just shared to you, he heard his story, and that brought my attention because I actually had previously, about a month before that, or a few days, I should say, about a week before that, I had heard a world-renowned doctor here in Canada, in Alberta, talking about black cumin seed. And I was very eager to get my hands on some black cumin seed. Yeah, I know I could have went to that health food store, but I knew, because I was in the networking industry, that our products in this industry is superior. It's like on steroids, 10 times bigger. And I will always be very passionate about that, of knowing what we have in our hands. So I'm thinking there's got to be a company out there with multiple ingredients, botanicals. I've been on natural health products in the last 10 years. So I knew what I was looking for from learning and understanding this past year and a half of the truth that's coming out on the world stage. But that being said, my husband had a stroke in August of 2022. So I knew when I heard that doctor saying that anybody that's had a stroke, or anybody that has had some reactions of certain things that have been put into our arms, you need to get on black cumin seed. So with that being said, I heard Jeremy's story and I'm like, this is a no-brainer. And then I heard Temple Swift's story and I said, this is a no-brainer. I hadn't even tried the product. I'm like, I want in. And it was like the next day that the company had that big promotion. And so I contacted my community and brought on 12 people in 6 days. And it grew a team of just shy of about 40 people in a period of 2 weeks. And I hit 2 pin ranks in the second week of business and got my made a little under $1,000 to get my return investment of my pack of my, obviously it came in as a promo, but then I upgraded to my pack, or up to the, the business builder pack. And I've never looked back. And I will tell you, is when it's in your blood to share to people and just be the messenger. And that's why myself and a few of the team members have been going to some out of networking industry company events, or not even company events, but they're just general events to go get information. Guys, if you're sitting on the fence, if you're listening to this replay, if you're a guest that's listening to this replay, or a guest here, don't sit on the fence. We are definitely a buzz in the world right now. And it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's so exciting. So this is what's happened in a short period of a month. I'm so excited because obviously we created some noise. Again, I have multiple projects on the go. I'm just not doing Rain International. And I am being able to, or not just me, it's the whole team, to activate the corporate now wanting to come to Alberta at the beginning of June. So for Western Canada, and I've, organized many conferences in the past with CEOs, senior VPs, corporate scientific advisory boards, top leadership of the world of these companies. And we've generated members coming in from multiple provinces and also from the United States arriving to our events. So if you're serious about building, come on out to Alberta, book that first weekend in Alberta. You're going to be here in Alberta. You're going to not want to miss this electric weekend with our one of our founders, Casey Whitaker, and Temple Swift coming to Alberta. So with that, I didn't want to share entirely Jeremy's story, but we have our incredible friend, Jeremy Whaley, on the call tonight. He's not on camera because he's driving from home from another baseball season is almost done. And I would love for Jeremy to share his story, what brought my attention to this company and this product line. So Jeremy, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sorry, guys, that I can't be on camera tonight. It is the middle of baseball season, and we have 7 games in 4 days with 2 different kids, and it's just incredible how much we get to enjoy this sport. So, but I'm happy that because of Zoom, we can do all the things that we do, and we're all here. So, thank you, Aaron, for putting all this together. And I guess I'll just tell my quick story here. I've known Paul for quite a while. In fact, I think it was in our previous business where I learned the word antioxidant, but I didn't really put it into practice nearly as much as I should have. And I've also been a rain for quite a while as well. But once again, I used the product off and on, and I liked it, but I didn't have anything I was trying to address specifically. So it's kind of nebulous whenever you're not quite sure what you're addressing. But back in January of this year, I woke up one day and half my face was paralyzed. And went to the doctor immediately. I thought I was having a stroke. And the doctor said it was Bell's palsy. So I went home and researched that. And I immediately said the doctors were wrong. They gave me all sorts of excuses. And in the end, what we did discover is there was an inflamed nerve in my neck. And I've been going to chiropractor about it. Just wasn't seeing a whole lot of results. And I just remembered rain, which I had not taken the product for many, many years, probably 3 or 4 years. And I called Temple and I said, Temple, I got to get me some more. And I got my product within about a couple of days. And within 48 hours of starting to take Sol, I started taking 3 packets a day. I'd say probably about 75 to 80, maybe 85% of my facial muscles were back. I could smile again, and everything just kind of started to come back. And so that was my testimony. I was really excited about it. And I kind of got involved with Temple and was just talking about her tumor, which if you haven't heard her story, she's got a great tumor story. And next thing I knew, just all these things with brain tumors and strokes and all these different things started coming to me. So I kind of started sharing some of it. And all that coincided with Erin and her needs. And before we knew it, we just started sharing this thing and it started spreading like wildfire. And I totally agree with Erin. We've got a product that everybody needs to know about. I agree with Paul. North America is practically untapped, and it's really up to us. We need to get out there and spread it. And I'm excited to be part of it. I'm excited to have all of y'all here and to be working on this together.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for you being on the road to share your story and why. And it's so powerful because, again, I related to that because I dealt with my husband having a stroke in August. So this past August in 2022. So I was looking for a product to start detoxing him massively. We were always about detoxing before, but I wanted to get it onto a turbo speed of detoxing. So he's already here. He's already getting results. I noticed he's back to work since the end of December. So he had been just 2.5 months of back to work when he started the product. And what I do notice with him is he's not so tired when he gets home because, of course, his brain is redeveloping, regrowing, and doing what it needs to do for the recovery. So I'm blessed that I'm already seeing, he doesn't feel like he's seeing major results, but I notice it big time, certain things where he's not falling asleep 2 hours after he comes home from work, after supper, he's staying up till 9, 10 o'clock to the point that our daughter's telling him to go to bed at 11 o'clock. So that's a good sign. Things are working. So, because of course our daughters are like mother hens now to him. So always taking care of daddy. So, wonderful. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Temple, or not Temple, Jeannie, and we spoke about Temple. Thank you, Temple. Anyways, thanks, Phil, for all, and Jeremy, for all your testimonials. I know we have many of you guys have been on this product for a long period of time too. I'm so excited to meet many of you guys at the Alberta event. Details will be coming soon. Again, for all the people that are watching and listening to this replay, and you're a guest and you're, a good friend of yours has shared this recording over to you, please get back to them and we will get all your questions answered. So with that, I'm going to close the call off, and I want you guys to all have a good evening or good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you.
Before you close,
one
where
thing that
are
I
you
do, one thing I do
recording?
want to mention is just that we're going to have another presentation next week. We'll have special guests each week. So we'll have change it up. But the point is, we want those of you who are wanting to build teams, invite people to these presentations. We're working towards this event coming up in June. Okay, there you go.